Hey everyone, this is Sal Vasquez. What's going on? Hope you're having a great day. I wanted to talk to you for a little while about the power of story. Now, I'm just gonna touch on it because this is it could be a long conversation, but it's amazing and it's an amazing and powerful concept. And I've really been focusing a lot on the power of story and just how we create our life based on the stories that we tell ourselves about ourselves. And the bottom line is this: the life that we're going to create, the life that we're currently living, we're living because of the stories we tell ourselves about ourselves, or even about the world, or about specific situations. It all comes down to the power of story. It comes down to the stories that we're telling ourselves in our minds, and how we created those stories, where those stories came from, how we see ourselves, even in our subconscious mind. It's created by the stories that we tell ourselves, and the stories that we experience on a day-to-day basis. And I know for me, as I continue to go through this transformation in my life, the thing that I continue to come back to, the thing that I continue to focus on, is my story. What is my story when I wake up in the morning? What is my story as far as my family relationship? What is my story about my wife and about my son? What is a story that I have for myself? Who do I see myself to be? What is the story that I have in regards to how other people view me? Because the way that I shape that story, the way that that story is framed, the way that I view that story and live that story out is going to determine the life that I live. It's going to determine the type of joy that I have in my life. It's going to determine my happiness. It's going to determine what I do with my life. It's going to determine how I engage in social situations, how I show up to close a sales deal. It's gonna determine how I create this video right now. Everything that I do, everything that I experience is based upon the stories that I'm telling myself. And a lot of these stories, like I said before, are really these subconscious stories. One of the things that I've been focusing on is our inherited story. When I focus on this with a lot of my coaching clients, we focus on this whole concept of true self versus false self, and how important it is for us to really live out of our true self. But somewhere along the lines, we start living out of this false self, and it's based upon this inherited story that we somehow wind up crafting. And that inherited story, there's a lot of different dynamics to it. It's the story that our parents have for us, or it's the story that we created based upon our family upbringing. It's the story that we create based upon the way other people see us. It's the story that we create based upon culture, and the culture that we're in, the culture that we grew up in. Maybe it's an ethnic culture, or maybe it's whatever type of culture. It's a neighborhood culture, or maybe it's a religious culture, or maybe it's the culture that you experienced in the school that you went to. But it's whatever culture it is, that culture, that ethos had the power to shape our story. And then there's the powerful traumatic experiences, and how traumatic experiences have so shaped our story that it's hard for us to see anything else, and it's hard for us to live out any other way but through that lens, through that story, until we can become aware that there is a story going on, that we do live out of some sort of story, that our story colors the way that we live. It creates the actions. It creates the way that we engage. So until we can become aware that there's a story going on inside of our mind, that there's a story going on in our lives, and once we can figure out what that story is, we can then reframe and recreate the story that we want to experience. You know, it's such a powerful, amazing concept that has the potential and the ability to totally transform your life. So my question is this: what is your story? What is the story you tell yourself about yourself? How has your family shaped your story? How has the culture shaped your story? How has friends shaped your story? And most of all, how have these traumatic experiences in your life shaped your story that cause you to not engage in the very thing you were created to engage in as an artist? Because maybe one day your mother looked at your piece of artwork and said, oh, that's nice, and maybe was kind of nonchalant about it when you were expecting something else. You were expecting a different type of a response to your artwork. And because of that, your story is, my art is not necessarily any good, so, you know, why bother? It didn't excite the person that was closest to me, so I'm not going to bother. Or maybe, you know, you went to college, you went to school for something very specific, and then you got a job out of college doing that thing, and you got fired. So that totally shaped your story and how you see yourself, that you're no good in that area. But the bottom line is, maybe your boss was just a jerk. Or maybe your mom at that very moment was preoccupied with something else. So, but we create this story. We have this false belief around these traumatic experiences. And I want to challenge you to look at those things again, especially if it's something you're passionate about. You know, especially in talking about what I'm talking about right now, if it's something that you're passionate about and you let go of. Or maybe it's just life in general. It seems dull right now. Maybe you're unhappy. Maybe the relationship that you're in right now is just it's weighing you down, and there's anger and animosity, and you just can't seem to connect with your partner or the person that you once told you loved. You know, what is the story that you're currently experiencing right now? And I guarantee, if you can change your story, you can recreate the experiences that you want to create, and you can create the future that you want to create. See, because the bottom line is this: we can create any story we want. We can create any life that we want. I know it to be true because I do it time and time again. Yes, I fall back into these living out of this place based on my false self. But I'm also aware enough, and I've been on this journey long enough to know that I can create whatever I want. No matter what's going on in my life, no matter how I feel, no matter what I'm experiencing, I can change my story. I can reframe my story and create the life that I want to live. And I know you can too. It's an amazing experience. It's a journey well worth the time and effort. So I just want to challenge you to think about, what is your current story? And write that out. Write down the story that you currently have in regards to your life experiences or the things that you want to focus on. And then what would it look like if you were able to have anything you wanted? If you were able to experience whatever you wanted? Write that story out. Just let it go. Think big. Dream. Use your imagination to just start thinking about and imagining the type of story you want to live out. And then live it. And then do it. You know, there's a lot of other practical tools for you to be able to do that. But I just want to encourage you to start. Start thinking about the story that's going on inside of your mind, and start recreating it so that you can live the life you were born to live. I know there's something deep inside of you that's saying yes, or else you still wouldn't be watching this video. You're saying, yes, I want that. Well, the bottom line is this: you can have it the minute you decide to. I hope this was helpful. Have a great day. Peace.